Chapter 1. A First Encounter. In the southern lands, spring is a capricious season, with weather fluctuating unpredictably between warmth and chill. Just yesterday, the sun shone brilliantly, and the gentle March breeze wafted pleasantly through the air. Yet, overnight, the atmosphere transformed entirely. The luminescent city of Lindong, nestled within the Lindong district of Lingang City, comprises the bustling Lindong Commercial Pedestrian Street, the vibrant Lindong Bar Street, the delectable Lindong Food Street, and the lively Lindong Entertainment Street. It stands as the largest destination for dining and recreation in Lingang City and holds a renowned reputation throughout the nation. Not only do locals from the nearby harbor and provincial capital flock here, but visitors from other cities within the province and even those traveling from afar are drawn by its allure. As the oldest district in Lingang, Luminescent City is not only a hub of daytime activity, but also dazzles with its nighttime charm. However, on this cold, rainy night, the usual throngs of patrons were noticeably diminished. Among the establishments on Bar Street, there exists a bar named Luminescent City Bar, reputed to be the first bar in Lindong. The proprietor, a savvy businessman from the harbor, owns numerous enterprises in Lingang. The towering nine-story building is one of his many ventures and a hallmark of Luminescent City. This astute entrepreneur has cleverly divided the ground floor, with a large portion dedicated to a seafood hot pot restaurant facing the sea, while a smaller section serves as the hotel lobby. The second floor houses the Luminescent City Bar, and the third and fourth floors are occupied by KTV and a sauna, with the upper floors accommodating a budget hotel, creating a seamless experience of dining, drinking, and entertainment. Inside Luminescent City Bar, Zhuang Ziyou navigated through the lobby, following the guidance of a bar attendant towards the restroom. At 25 years of age, Zhuang Ziyou stands approximately 1.75 meters tall, exuding a gentle demeanor and possessing striking good looks reminiscent of Hugo, the male lead from the television series Chinese Paladin. Graduating from the Journalism and Communication School of Lingang University, he had only recently joined the newspaper in June of the previous year, still a novice in the industry, often rushing about in search of significant news, with scarcely a few days off each month. Help! There's a pervert spying. Suddenly, a girl's shrill scream pierced the air, followed by the indistinct voice of a man attempting to defend himself. Despite the bar's cacophony, these sounds distinctly emanated from the direction of the restroom. Without hesitation, Zhuang Ziyou dashed towards the source of the commotion. Upon reaching the restroom's entrance, he spotted a tall man wearing a black knit cap sprinting away, pursued by several young women. The man, though seemingly unfazed, flashed Zhuang Ziyou an enigmatic smile before attempting to evade him via the bar's emergency exit. "Catch him! He was just caught filming in the women's restroom," cried one of the girls, leading the charge, her white short-down jacket fluttering behind her. Zhuang Ziyou, with determination, collided with the man's shoulder, catching him off guard and causing him to stumble back slightly. "Get lost! Mind your own business!" The man shouted angrily, swinging a fist towards Zhuang Ziyou's head. Given his height advantage, it was all too easy F. Chapter 2. Through storm and rain, Han Song has been detained by the police for public security reasons, and the local precinct will conduct an investigation into him regarding his report about the girl who assaulted him. The police stated that there were neither eyewitnesses nor evidence to substantiate the claim, and thus, they would not file a case. However, he retains the right to bring the matter to court. Officer Yuan, I recommend that we delve deeper into Han Song's situation. It cannot merely be a case of voyeurism. Upon leaving the precinct, Zhuang Ziyou once again addressed Officer Yuan Hongguang, expressing that he hoped this would not be considered an interference with police proceedings. "Rest assured, we will continue our investigation," replied Yuan Hongguang. "Should you receive any reports related to this matter, please feel free to contact me. We will certainly follow up." They exchanged phone numbers and shook hands in farewell. Outside the precinct, Jin Yongza was already waiting in his CARD 25 years of age. Jin Yongza is of average height, possesses a cheerful disposition, and is easygoing. He is also a graduate of the Journalism and Communication School at Lingang University. Having joined the newspaper a year after Zhuang Ziyou, he can be regarded as Zhuang Ziyou's apprentice. He typically drives a Guangxi Honda, transporting Zhuang Ziyou to various news events that a native of Jianzhou village, which is less than 10 kilometers away. Jianyongza hails from a community where nearly every household is a landlord. It is said that some families earn over 10 million yuan annually in rental income, making it a renowned affluent village in Lingang. Meanwhile, the friends of the girls had arrived to pick them up, and in the drizzling rain, they hurriedly climbed into their respective vehicles. "Farewell, brave handsome," the girls called out to Zhuang Ziyou before departing. He watched as the stunningly beautiful, long-legged girl and her companion got into a red BMW, which then vanished into the chilly night rain. "Did you exchange numbers?" Jian Yongza inquired with a grin as they sat in the car. "I did." Zhuang Ziyou assumed he was referring to the exchange with Yuan Hongguang. "Did everyone exchange numbers?" "No, just the officer's contact." Zhuang Ziyou began to grasp the implication behind Jian Yongza's words. "You must have added her on QQ, right?" "No, alas, you have truly disappointed me. Not only did you fail to secure a single beauty's number, but you also neglected to add them on QQ. Such a regrettable missed opportunity to meet beautiful women." Jian Yongza scoffed at him. "My dear brother, encountering such a voyeuristic incident is inherently awkward. Didn't he that beauty seem eager to leave?" "All right, I understand. You are quite the expert on women." Jian Yongza swiftly changed the topic. "This incident could be deemed a minor news story. Should we consider writing a report for the social section? I intend to conduct further investigation before writing. Otherwise, the news value would be too low." "Suit yourself," Jian Yongza replied. "Old Zeng and the others are still waiting for us at the city that never sleeps. Let us head over." "Very well." In a booth within the bar's lobby, Zeng Ziming was drinking with Huang Longxing. Zeng Ziming, tall and strikingly handsome, contrasted with the more ordinary yet spirited appearance of Huang Longxing. Both around 26 years of age, they are officers in the Criminal Police Brigade of the Lindong Public Security Bureau. This evening, Zeng Ziming was in a foul mood and had invited them for drinks, continuing until midnight. Beneath the yellow streetlights, the gentle drizzle fell softly. Inside the red BMW, the beautiful and poised girl sat quietly alone in the back seat. Her name is Lin Ruoxi, a 25-year-old graduate of China University of Political Science and Law, currently employed at the Procuratorate of Lingang City. Her father is Lin Zhong, the secretary of the Lingang City Committee. "Ruoxi, why are you so quiet?" inquired a girl driving, who caught a glimpse of her through the rearview mirror. This girl is Lin Lisan, slightly petite yet undeniably beautiful, also 25 years old, and a vibrant woman. A classmate of Lin Ruoxi, working as a lawyer at the Lingang City Justice Law Firm. "Lisan, it seems Ruoxi is experiencing a fluttering heart," chuckled the girl in the passenger seat, who is Li Mingru. A native of the capital, tall and graceful, with almond-shaped eyes and a heart-shaped face. Her flowing hair resembles that of a television star. She, too, is a university classmate of Lin Ruoxi, currently employed at the Beijing court. "That little reporter is rather charming. Did you get his number or add him on QQ?" Lisan laughed. "Mengru, you and Lisan are the ones with fluttering hearts, like amorous cats," Ruoxi responded with a smile. "I say, Ruoxi, with such a charming and handsome brother, if you don't want him, I might just take him for myself," Li Mengru teased mischievously. "Mengru, please, would your family allow you to come here?" Ruoxi retorted. "Who says it's impossible? What era is this? Do we still need to heed our parents' commands when it comes to love?" Mengru replied, "I can't believe your family would consent to you being here, but I certainly don't." Both Ruoxi and Lisan agreed in unison. Who says two people must be in the same place to be in love? Long-distance relationships are all the rage now. Haven't you noticed that even online dating has become popular? Li Mengru laughed heartily. Long-distance relationships and online romances, how many truly end well? In universities in Beijing, every graduation season sees countless couples parting ways. And as for online dating, how many aren't merely scams for money or affection? Ruoxi scoffed. "All right, I won't tease you any longer. I certainly won't steal my dear Ruoxi's brother to go ahead, whether you want to take him or not. What does it matter to me? He is not my man. In that case, I won't be polite. I've secretly noted down his phone number. When did you jot it down?" When he exchanged numbers with that police officer, Mengru chuckled again. "That I've never encountered such a foolish boy." He didn't even think to ask for the girl's number. He was merely embarrassed. Encountering such a situation as peeping is quite awkward. Who would dare to ask for a girl's number? How shameless. "Oh, Ruoxi, you truly understand him. No wonder you two were so in sync when catching that rogue." "Mengru, you've gone too far. Haha." Not at all, but let us change the subject. Mengru, having been in Lingang these past few days, what are your impressions? Ruashi redirected the conversation that I specifically took leave to come to Lingang, but I must admit I am somewhat disappointed. Though Lingang is renowned as a prosperous city and a model of civility, the prevalence of such uncivilized behavior as peeping is utterly revolting. It has completely ruined my mood for drinking. Oh, what city lacks its villains? Even in your capital, wasn't there a notorious scoundrel caught last month in a bar for drugging women? This is true as well. There are nefarious individuals everywhere, and they must be apprehended. On a rainy day, as the roads became slick, Lin Lisan drove with great diligence, while Ruo Shi and Li Mengru engaged in lively conversation. Ruo Shi, to speak frankly, your personality is particularly suited for a career in law enforcement, yet you have chosen to work at the procuratorate. It is quite a pity. Li Mengru lamented. What a pity? My parents' consent for me to come to Lingang is already a blessing, and besides, being a procurator aligns well with my field of study. You should have seen how fiercely my parents opposed it. They were quite terrifying, declaring that I was their only daughter and disregarding their feelings by insisting on working 1,000 miles away in Lingang. Such an act of filial impiety. But haven't your parents also relocated here now? It's perfect that the family is reunited, Ruo Shi remarked. Hee, it seems this was destined by fate. My parents no longer voice their discontent, Li Mengru replied. Thank goodness for that, or I would be too apprehensive to visit your home. Lin Lisan interjected. The last time I dined at your place, your mother brought it up, though she no longer held it against me. Haha, who could blame you for luring away someone else's precious daughter to Lingang? If not you, then who? Li Mengru chuckled though. Please, as if you didn't contribute to the idea back then. Lin Lisan retorted, somewhat displeased that I did offer a suggestion. But who told you to dine, live, and even share a bed with their daughter? Naturally, the blame for kidnapping falls upon you. Oh dear, why does that sound rather peculiar? Lin Ruashi inquired. Did I, too, sense an underlying implication in your words? Lin Lisan chimed in. What hidden implications? This is simply the truth, Li Mengru protested. And why refer to me as an experienced driver? I am still a pure and virtuous girl. All right. You are indeed a pure and virtuous girl, while we are the ones with less decorum. Does that suffice? Lin Ruo, she rolled her eyes. Your acknowledgement is all that matters. Li Mengru laughed, then sighed. Who would have thought that the three of us, all graduates of a political and legal university, would end up with one in the procuratorate? One in the court, and another in a law firm, each pursuing different paths. That has nothing to worry about. We are all still comrades in the realm of law. Indeed, we are all fellow travelers through the storms of life. Outside the car, the cold wind accompanied by the fine rain was indeed reminiscent of the trials we faced together. Chapter 3. The reporting incident on Monday. Yet another dreary, rainy day dawned. Zhuang Ziyou arrived at the office a bit earlier than usual, and upon entering, he found Jian Yongza already present, while most of their colleagues had yet to arrive. Old Jian, you are quite early today, Zhuang Ziyou remarked with a smile. That I took a day off yesterday, so I decided to come in a little earlier today, Jian Yongza replied, also smiling. Typically, Editor-in-Chief Gao assigns tasks today. I know, so I woke up a good 10 minutes earlier, Zhuang Ziyou replied. Clever. They exchanged a few words, and soon others began to arrive, culminating with the arrival of the news department's editor-in-chief, Gao Jianjun. Gao Jianjun, a man from the northwest, was in his 40s, with a somewhat dark square face adorned by a pair of glasses. Having transitioned from military service, after the leaders of various departments at the newspaper convened a regular meeting in the conference room on the 5th floor, Gao Jianjun instructed 1-1 to notify each member of the news department to gather in the small conference room for a morning meeting. While also organizing the tasks for each group, the duo of Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongza, typically assigned to cover breaking news and stories related to social issues and livelihoods, had yet to delve into the realms of political and economic journalism, which were the more coveted beats for seasoned reporters. Today, their assignment was to visit the Lintong district and interview a merchant at the Lintong seafood market regarding complaints about the market's mismanagement and indiscriminate collection of administrative fees. Such thankless and arduous stories were seldom sought after by other journalists. However, for fledgling reporters like them, even the smallest of news carried intrinsic value as for the voyeurism incident from the previous day. Zhuang Ziyou decided to await the police's progress in their investigation before determining their course of action. Have you lodged a complaint with the Price Bureau? Zhuang Ziyou inquired. Yes, we filed a complaint long ago. But the Price Bureau keeps insisting that they are still investigating, replied the seafood stall owner. Are there any other merchants who have also filed complaints? It seems not. Have the other merchants already paid this fee? I'm not entirely sure about that, Zhang Feng responded. This seafood stall was only transferred to us over a month ago, so we're not very familiar with the market. Following the interview protocol, they understood that they could not solely rely on the merchant S account and needed to consult the market authorities. Can you confront the market management office with us? Jian Yongzi asked. Of course, the stall owner replied, though his wife appeared hesitant, as if she wished to speak but refrained. Zhuang Ziyou and his companion took note of her reluctance. Upon arriving at the second-floor market management office, they encountered a young staff member in his 20s. Zhuang Ziyou explained their purpose, stating that they were seeking the market manager to inquire about Mr. Zhang's complaint. However, the staff member replied that the manager was unavailable and that he had no knowledge of the matter. I'm not certain about that. Do you have the manager's contact number? No. Oh, that's fine. The staff member, sporting a crew cut, nonchalantly accepted their business card and placed it on the table. Exiting the market management office, they noticed several stall owners eyeing them curiously. Zhuang Ziyou felt a surge of determination and attempted to distribute his business cards, explaining that they were there to investigate the issue of excessive charges in the market and wished to conduct interviews. Yet, the seafood vendors, citing their busy schedules, declined to accept the cards, refraining from engaging further. Exchanging glances with Jian Yongzi, Zhuang Ziyou mused, the waters in this market run deep. Subsequently, they proceeded to the price bureau, where a staff member did agree to an interview, stating that the bureau was investigating and would have results soon, promising to contact the reporters when the time came. Both Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi were not easily deterred. If overt inquiries failed, they resolved to conduct covert investigations. That evening, Zhuang Ziyou received a call from an unknown number. The caller stated, "Comrade journalist, I wish to report that the manager of the Lintong Seafood Market Management Office, Hong Hui, is colluding with organized crime, engaging in extortion and coercive sales." Organized crime. Zhuang Ziyou felt a jolt of alarm. Do you have evidence? Yes. The individual asserted with certainty. Merchants engaged in seafood trade at the Lindong Seafood Market are compelled by Hong Hui to procure their goods exclusively from the seafood gang. Otherwise, they face extortion, threats of violence, and even potential kidnappings. Have you reported this to the police? I have long since notified the Lindong District Public Security Bureau and the Lingang City Police Department. Yet they merely stated that an investigation is underway, which is utterly futile, since the police have already initiated an investigation. That is a positive development. We should expect results soon. I have heard whispers that the director of the Lindong Bureau receives protection money from the seafood gang each month. Some individuals from that side scoffed at this. Such claims should not be made lightly. Zhuang Ziyou cautioned him. It seems you do not believe me. Or are you, esteemed journalist, also afraid? Afraid of what? I have previously reported to other journalists, yet they merely regarded me as a madman. No one dared to take me seriously. May we discuss this in person? For now, that is unnecessary, the individual continued. However, I can send you the evidence. When will you send it? I have already dispatched it. You should receive it by tomorrow. Zhuang Ziyou suspected it was a public phone and inquired, would you kindly provide your mobile number? But all that came through was a series of beeps, indicating the call had been disconnected. The following morning, Zhuang Ziyou indeed received a letter enclosed in a brown paper envelope containing printed materials detailing various aspects of the seafood gang, along with numerous accounts of merchants at the Lindong Seafood Market being coerced into purchasing from the gang, as well as instances of violence and extortion against those who resisted, complete with timestamps. Brother Long resides near the Lindong Seafood Market, yet he seldom makes appearances. Hong Hui, the manager of the Market Management Office, is one of his top 4 subordinates, typically overseeing operations in the vicinity of the market. Zhuang Ziyou mused that this whistleblower was quite formidable, having amassed such a wealth of evidence. If he were to collaborate with Jian Yongzi for covert investigations, it could take an extensive period to gather such information. He shared the letter with Jian Yongzi, and the two concluded it prudent to report this matter to He Wenyu. After reviewing the evidence, He Wenyu inquired about their interview from the previous day. They recounted the events. This is a newsworthy story of considerable value. He Wenyu declared, you should first gauge the situation at the Lindong Public Security Bureau if it is confirmed that a case has been filed. Await the Bureau's follow-up investigation before proceeding with interviews. Should there be no case filed, conduct your own discreet inquiries and report any developments to me promptly. Understood, team leader. Zhuang Ziyou and his companion deliberated and decided to place a call to Zhuang Ziyou to ascertain whether a case had indeed been filed at the bureau. As this would not contravene any regulations, Zhuang Ziyou confirmed that a case had been filed, instructing them not to involve themselves further. Any outcomes would be announced by the bureau in due course. Nonetheless, Zhuang Ziyou and his colleague felt it prudent to continue monitoring the situation, as this was also part of the media's oversight responsibility. They proceeded to the Lindong seafood market, hoping to have another discussion with Boss Zhang. However, Boss Zhang mentioned that the market management office had already clarified the situation with him. The rectification of the sewage system has been duly implemented, and the cost will be borne entirely by the market management office, with no burden on individual merchants. Consequently, this matter is now considered resolved. At that moment, two personnel from the market management approached. One of them was familiar, having met them the previous day, while the other was a stout man in his 30s, dressed in black casual wool trousers and a matching black overcoat. "Greetings, esteemed journalists. I am Hong Hui from the market management office." The man in his 30s greeted them with a smile. "I was just about to call you when you arrived." Hong Hui invited Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi to the office on the second floor, to which they readily agreed. Following Hong Hui and his colleague towards the office, behind them, Boss Zhang and his wife exchanged a glance filled with bitterness. As they walked, Hong Hui provided an overview of the basic situation concerning the Lindong seafood market, before settling down at a mahogany tea table in the office to serve freshly brewed Thai guanyin tea to Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi, while emphasizing the upgrades to the sewage system at the Lindong seafood market. Chapter 4. The Seafood Tycoon. The Lindong seafood market is situated in the heart of Lindong district, just across the road from the bustling Lindong commercial pedestrian street. The area boasts vibrant commerce and a dense population, yet, being an older district, the municipal facilities are relatively outdated, and the drainage system is insufficient to cope with waste disposal, leading to discontent among local residents. Thus, the market management office resolved to upgrade the sewage system. Initially, the funding was planned to be sourced from the market, with a portion applied for from the government, and some gathered from the merchants. However, there was no compulsory requirement for each merchant to contribute. Rather, it was based on voluntary participation. You were referring to Boss Zhang Feng, correct? That was indeed a misunderstanding on his part. The notice we previously issued to the merchants is still available. Please take a look. Hong Hui produced a stack of A4 printed notices and distributed one to Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi. Then addressed the young management staff member, Xiao Chong. "Please summon Boss Zhang over here." At that moment, Boss Zhang Feng arrived. He first apologized to Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi, acknowledging that he had misinterpreted the notice from the market management office, which prompted him to report to the newspaper. However, now that the situation had been clarified, there was no need to trouble Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi any further, though he expressed profound gratitude for their assistance. Both Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi recognized this as mere platitude but chose not to expose it, responding only that they were glad the matter was resolved. Seizing the opportunity, Hong Hui remarked, "Esteemed journalists, our market has always upheld the principle of serving our valued clients, adhering to a standardized and humane management approach, actively assisting our merchants in addressing operational challenges. For instance, we guide merchants who are new to the area and unfamiliar with the local wholesale market by recommending reputable wholesalers. Additionally, for those merchants struggling with insufficient clientele and lackluster sales, we connect them with potential restaurant clients that in some cases, where a merchant faces personal upheaval and urgently requires funds, our market management office is willing to defer their rent and management fees." In this instance of fundraising donations, certain merchants failed to comprehend the contents of the notification, mistakenly believing it to be a compulsory collection, which led to a misunderstanding. Consequently, this morning, our market management office has resolved to cancel the fundraising contributions from the merchants, with the financial matters to be addressed by the market management office itself. While his words were eloquently articulated, Zhuang Ziyou noticed a barely perceptible twist in Zhang Feng's smiling countenance. From this perspective, it appears that under Manager Hong's stewardship, the Lindong seafood market has indeed become an exemplary establishment characterized by standardized and humane management. Truly, one cannot voice an opinion without thorough investigation, Zhuang Ziyou remarked with deliberate sentiment. "Ha. Dear journalist colleagues, your media oversight has certainly played a part in this," Manager Hong responded with a laugh. "Indeed, Manager Hong possesses a way with words." Zhuang Ziyou echoed in mirth that not at all. "I, Hong Hui, am merely a simple man, unlike you esteemed journalists who are all well-versed in literature, the true pillars of our nation. You jest, dear journalist, Hong Hui chuckled, glancing at his Rolex watch. Gentlemen, it's nearly lunchtime. Would you care to join me for a meal? No need for formality. Collaborating with the journalists is our duty. After all, mutual cooperation. Hong Hui extended his hand once more to Jian Yongzi, escorting Zhuang Ziyou and his companion out of the market. Watching them depart. Well then, it's almost time to eat. I shall make a call to Lao Zeng to see if he is available to join us, Jian Yongzi suggested. He dialed Zeng Ziming, arranging a location at the Luhai Seafood Hot Pot restaurant beneath the city that never sleeps. Zeng Ziming arrived accompanied by Huang Longxing. The four of them ordered 8 dishes and 1 soup: roast goose, poached chicken, steamed bass, salt and pepper shrimp, stir-fried clams, dry-fried beef ho fun, mapo tofu, and stir-fried leafy greens, with the soup being American ginseng chicken soup. After a short while, the dishes began to arrive. The salt and pepper shrimp were scant, resting atop a bed of tiger skin peppers, while the stir-fried clams were also limited, the vivid red and green chilies perhaps even outnumbering the clams. Thankfully, the portion of steamed bass was quite generous, weighing over a pound, albeit at a rather steep price of 98 yuan per fish. Seafood is indeed quite expensive. Zhuang Ziyou lamented that I adore seafood. Even if it's pricey, I must indulge, Jian Yongzi replied with a smile. These dishes are mildly flavored, making them suitable for many. However, Lao Huang, would you like some chili sauce? Zeng Ziming inquired. No need. Just having chili is sufficient, Huang Longxing responded. Nonetheless, let us have the waiter bring a dish of chili sauce. It is rather chilly today, Jian Yongzi suggested, calling for the waiter to deliver a plate of chili sauce. So, why did you order poached chicken? Zhuang Ziyou asked. Poached chicken is delectable, and the condiments here consist of sand, ginger, and fragrant oil, creating an exquisite flavor, Jian Yongzi said, savoring a piece of chicken with great enjoyment. Zhuang Ziyou shook his head, finding Jian Yongzi occasionally childlike. Old Zhuang, allow me to clarify. I certainly did not intend to overshadow you last night. Please do not hold it against me. Zeng Ziming earnestly explained to Zhuang Ziyou that I was merely concerned that he might drop his phone, and having had a bit to drink, I recklessly rushed forward. How could I possibly blame you? To be frank, I might not have been able to seize that phone myself. Zhuang Ziyou laughed as he remarked, even in a state of mild inebriation, your agility is remarkable. Indeed, the police force is full of hidden talents, Lao Zhuang, you flatter me. I have merely practiced a few days at the police academy in the past, but I have since become somewhat out of practice. Zeng Ziming chuckled. Lao Zeng, have you not continued to maintain your training? Jian Yongzi inquired. With the demands of work and various trivial matters, I have not practiced in quite some time. Zeng Ziming replied with a hint of melancholy. Lao Zeng, while we may not possess your skills, do refrain from boasting too much. Such arrogance could bring down misfortune upon you. Jian Yongzi retorted with dissatisfaction that, oh, spare me. Who is boasting? I was genuinely a bit inebriated back then. Zeng Ziming laughed in jest at as they dined. Their conversation initially revolved around last night's peeping incident. Gradually, they shifted to discuss the Lindong seafood market, which was indeed the main purpose of the gathering. Lao Jian, I was quite busy this morning, and it was inconvenient to speak at the bureau. The truth is, this market has been reported numerous times, yet there are always individuals suppressing the complaints. Zeng Ziming disclosed. Who is suppressing them? Jian Yongzi asked. Kang Jia? Of course, Huang Longxing interjected. Lao Huang, keep your voice down. Be wary of ears lurking nearby. Zeng Ziming cautioned that if you're not willing to pursue this further, I still intend to, he added. Humph, with that old witch around. If we don't act, it's no great loss. Huang Longxing replied angrily. Look at you. You've let a perfectly good promotion opportunity slip through your fingers. And you haven't even reported it upwards. What good would reporting do? Just look at her work history. Isn't that individual at the municipal bureau clearly her support? Zeng Ziming remarked. Zhuang Ziyou understood that Kang Jia was the legendary director of the Lindong Public Security Bureau. Why is she referred to as a legendary director? Rumors circulated in the streets of Lingang City that Kang Jia's ascent through the ranks was indeed remarkable, rising from an ordinary clerk to deputy director in less than 3 years. Under her leadership, the Lindong Public Security Bureau achieved noteworthy accomplishments, gaining national recognition and earning her a commendable reputation, truly a legend. The public security system is still under regulation. I refuse to believe that one individual can wield absolute power. Huang Longxing asserted with frustration. And they're also the procuratorate. All right, Lao Huang, let us not dwell on this any longer. Zhuang Ziyou interjected, I brought this up merely to illustrate how deep the waters of the Lindong seafood market run, so that Lao Jian and the others do not unwittingly step into a quagmire that I cannot control you. Do as you please. Huang Longxing ceased his commentary. You, my friend, are even more sensitive than I am. Zhuang Ziyou chided playfully that I have heard that there is a seafood gang behind the Lindong seafood market. Is that true? Zhuang Ziyou inquired pointedly. You've even uncovered that much. It seems I have underestimated you journalists. Zhuang Ziyou exclaimed, glancing at them in surprise. Indeed, not only at the Lindong seafood market, but several others, including the Guangzhou seafood wholesale market, also bear their influence. Their leader is named Wang Long, known as the Dragon King. A notorious figure in the Lindong district's seafood trade, he began as a humble seafood vendor and, in just a few short years, monopolized the seafood wholesale market in the surrounding areas. It is rumored that his associates have even committed murder. They dare to kill. How brazen! Jian Yongzhe was taken aback. That is precisely why I advised you to steer clear. You cannot contend with these desperate individuals. Zhuang Ziyou stated, I refuse to believe that there is no one capable of managing them. Zhuang Ziyou countered. The gathering, devoid of any libations, concluded in under an hour. According to custom, it was naturally Jian Yongzhe who would foot the bill. And Zhuang Ziyou and his companions did not exhibit the eagerness some display in vying to settle the account. Zhuang Ziyou had always found it somewhat comical when a group of men jostled to pay for their meal. Monday arrived, bringing with it another dreary, rainy day. Zhuang Ziyou arrived at the office a tad earlier than usual and immediately noticed that Jian Yongzhe was already present, while most of their colleagues had yet to arrive. Old Jian, you're in quite early today, Zhuang Ziyou remarked with a smile. I took yesterday off, so I thought I'd come in a bit earlier today, Jian Yongzhe replied, also smiling. Typically, Editor-in-Chief Gao arranges tasks for today. I am aware. Hence, I rose a good 10 minutes earlier, Zhuang Ziyou remarked. Clever. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the rest of their colleagues gradually arrived, culminating in the arrival of the news department's editor-in-chief, Gao Jianjun. Gao Jianjun, a man in his 40s from the northwest, had a dark square face adorned with glasses and was a veteran who had transitioned from military service. Following a routine meeting of department heads on the 5th floor, Gao Jianjun instructed 1-1 to notify everyone in the news department to gather in the small conference room for a morning meeting, simultaneously assigning tasks to each group. Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzhe's group typically covered breaking news and social issues. As they were still relatively unknown reporters and had not yet had the opportunity to delve into the more coveted political and economic news, their task for the day was to visit the Lintong district to interview a vendor at the Lintong seafood market who had lodged a complaint regarding the market's mismanagement and the arbitrary collection of management fees. Such arduous and underappreciated news stories were seldom sought after by many reporters. However, for junior reporters like them, even the smallest stories held intrinsic value. As for the previous day's voyeurism incident, they would adhere to Zhuang Ziyou's thoughts from last night and await the police's progress before deciding on further action. Have you lodged a complaint with the Price Bureau? Zhuang Ziyou inquired. We submitted a complaint long ago, but the Price Bureau keeps stating that they are still investigating. The seafood vendor replied. Have there been any other complaints from different vendors? It seems there have not. Have the other vendors already paid this fee? I am not quite certain about that. Zhang Feng interjected. This seafood stall was only transferred to us a little over a month ago. We are not very familiar with this market. According to the interview protocol, they could not solely rely on the vendor's account and needed to consult the market management. Would you be willing to accompany us to the market management office for a direct confrontation? Jian Yongzhe inquired. Of course, the seafood vendor responded, though his wife appeared visibly hesitant, as if caught between words. Zhuang Ziyou and his companion, having noted this, remained vigilant. Upon arriving at the management office on the 2nd floor, they found only a young staff member in his 20s on duty. They explained their purpose, seeking to speak with the market's manager regarding Zhang's complaint. However, the staff member informed them that the manager was unavailable and that he was not acquainted with the matter. I cannot provide clarity on that. Oh, you have the phone number of the person in charge? No. Oh, that's fine. The duty staff, sporting a neatly cropped hairstyle, casually accepted the business card and placed it on the desk. As they exited the market management office, several business owners, upon seeing them, curiously inquired about their purpose. Zhuang Ziyou felt a stir of inspiration and contemplated distributing his business card, stating that they were there to investigate the issue of arbitrary charges in the market and sought to conduct interviews. However, these seafood vendors, citing their pressing business commitments, outright refused, even shying away from accepting the cards. Zhuang Ziyou exchanged a glance with Jian Yongzi. The depths of this market are indeed profound. Subsequently, they proceeded to the pricing bureau, where a staff member did agree to an interview, mentioning that the bureau was currently investigating the matter and results would be forthcoming, at which point they would certainly contact the reporters. Both Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi were not easily dissuaded. If the overt approach failed, they resolved to conduct covert inquiries. That evening, Zhuang Ziyou received a call from an unfamiliar number. The caller stated, "Comrade reporter, I wish to report that Hong Hui, the manager of the Lindong Seafood Market Management Office, is colluding with the underworld, engaging in extortion and coercion." The mention of the underworld sent a jolt through Zhuang Ziyou. "Do you have any evidence?" "Indeed," the caller asserted. "Vendors at the Lindong Seafood Market are coerced by Hong Hui to procure goods from the seafood gang. Otherwise, they face extortion, threats, vandalism, and even kidnapping." "Have you reported this to the police?" "I have long since reported it to the Lindong District Public Security Bureau and the Lingang City Police. But they merely stated that an investigation is underway. It's utterly futile, since the police have already initiated an investigation. That's a positive development. Results should be forthcoming soon. I've heard that the chief of the Lindong branch receives protection money from the seafood gang every month." The caller retorted disdainfully, "Such statements should not be made lightly." Zhuang Ziyou cautioned him that "It seems you do not trust me. Or perhaps, esteemed reporter, you are also afraid." "Afraid of what?" "I have previously reported to other journalists, but they dismissed me as a madman. No one dared to take me seriously. Can we discuss this in person?" "That is not necessary at this time," the caller continued. "However, I can send you the evidence materials." "When will you send them?" "I have already sent them. You should receive them by tomorrow." Zhuang Ziyou surmised that the call must have been made from a public phone and asked, "Could you leave a mobile number?" But the line went dead with a series of beeps, indicating the call had ended. The following morning, Zhuang Ziyou indeed received a letter enclosed in a brown paper envelope, containing printed materials detailing the situation of the seafood gang, listing numerous instances of vendors at the Lindong Seafood Market being coerced into purchasing from the gang and instances of retaliatory violence against those who resisted, complete with timestamps. Brother Long resided near the Lindong Seafood Market, but rarely made appearances. Hong Hui, the manager of the Market Management Office, was one of his 4 henchmen, typically overseeing operations in the vicinity of the Lindong Market. Zhuang Ziyou mused that the individual who reported this matter was quite astute. Having gathered such a wealth of evidence, if he were to collaborate with Jian Yongzi to conduct a thorough investigation, it remains uncertain how long it would take to gather such extensive information. He shared the letter with Jian Yongzi, and both concluded that it would be prudent to report the matter to He Wenyu. After reviewing the complaint materials, He Wenyu inquired about their interviews from the previous day. They recounted the events. Deeming it a newsworthy story of considerable significance, He Wenyu instructed, "You should first probe the situation at the Lindong Public Security Bureau. If it is confirmed that a case has been filed, wait for the Bureau to follow up with the investigation before proceeding with your interviews. If no case has been opened, you may conduct discreet inquiries. Any developments should be promptly reported to me." "Understood." Team leader Zhuang Ziyou and his companion deliberated and decided to first call Zhang Ziming to ascertain whether a case had been filed at the Bureau, which was within regulatory bounds. Zhang Ziming informed them that a case had indeed been opened and advised them to refrain from further involvement. Any outcomes would be announced by the Bureau in due course. Nonetheless, Zhuang Ziyou felt it necessary to keep abreast of the situation, as it was part of the media's duty to oversee such matters. They proceeded to the Lindong Seafood Market, intending to speak with Boss Zhang once more. However, Boss Zhang informed them that the Market Management Office had already clarified the situation regarding the wastewater treatment system, confirming that the necessary rectifications had been put in place and that the cost would be borne solely by the market management, absolving individual merchants from financial responsibility. At that moment, 2 market management personnel approached. One was already familiar to them from the previous day, while the other was a stout, short-haired man in his 30s, clad in black casual trousers and a matching overcoat. "Greetings, journalists. I am Hong Hui from the Market Management Office." The man, smiling, remarked, "I was just about to call you when you arrived." Hong Hui invited Zhuang Ziyou and his companion to his office on the 2nd floor, and they readily accepted, following him. Behind them, Boss Zhang and his wife exchanged a glance filled with bitterness as they walked. Hong Hui provided an overview of the Lindong Seafood Market's basic operations before settling at a mahogany tea table in the office, where he served freshly brewed Tiguanyin tea to Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi, while emphasizing the upgrades to the market's wastewater system. Chapter 5. Hand-in-hand, Lin Zheng did not attend the commendation ceremony for acts of bravery. He had initially intended to personally present an award to his daughter, but after some consideration, he chose to forego it. After dinner, he and Dong Yun watched the live broadcast on television. Old Lin. Just look at Zhuang Ziyou. Doesn't he seem quite compatible with our girl? Dong Yun remarked, observing Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi standing together on stage. What, compatible? Lin Zheng, sipping tea, nearly burst out laughing. Indeed, they do resemble a young couple. Dong Yun asserted. What on earth? Where do you see any resemblance? Lin Zheng replied, bemused. Let it go. After all, it took considerable effort for me to win you over back in the day. You were always gazing skyward. He added, but that girl has an unusual glint in her eye. In today's society, with more men than women, our daughter has countless admirers. Why would she be interested in that young man? You're worrying unnecessarily. Humph. Am I worrying unnecessarily? Let us wait and see. Dong Yun smiled mysteriously, cautioning, do not blame me later for not warning you tonight. Your little cotton-padded jacket is soon to be whisked away, as the adage goes. Men should marry, and women should wed. I shall observe which young man possesses the capability to win over our daughter. Lin Zheng remained remarkably composed. After the commendation ceremony concluded, Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi departed the exhibition center in Jian Yongzi's vehicle, accompanied by Lin Lisin, who took Lin Ruoxi's flowers, claiming them for herself. Lin Ruoxi shot her a glance, but did not contest the matter. Zhuang Ziyou then presented his own flowers to Lin Ruoxi, who, initially taken aback, accepted them joyfully. Jian Yongzi and Lin Lisin exchanged knowing glances, both recognizing the mischievous triumph in each other's eyes. This time, Zhuang Ziyou had earned a bonus of 6,000 yuan, 3,000 of which was an additional award from the Lingdong Public Security Bureau. And Jian Yongzi resolved to take advantage of him once more. They returned to Fu Ji's barbecue food city, where Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing had arrived even earlier. This time, they did not order other barbecue dishes, but opted for a dozen plain oysters, followed by a pot of oyster, chicken, and shrimp congee, along with several side dishes. Let us raise a glass to our two models of heroism, Jian Yongzi proposed. The wine he brought was our Martin champagne, purchased in Haigang City. Drinking champagne from plastic cups might invite scorn in Shanghai, but in Lingang, they were free to do as they pleased without reproach. Upon learning that Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi had been recognized as models of heroism, the owner, Fu Gu, came over to congratulate them and shared a drink before returning to his duties. Old Zhuang, you must thank Old Wu this time. It was he who insisted on nominating you as models of heroism. Zhang Ziming remarked, the decision lies with the city bureau, yet the recommendation from the sub-bureau is also crucial. He added, Zhuang Ziyou finally grasped the situation. However, I find it peculiar that Old Kong was surprisingly cooperative this time and did not oppose Old Wu. Zhang Ziming continued, I have heard that Old Wu has connections in the provincial department. Huang Longxing interjected. Whether Old Wu indeed has connections there is uncertain. Zhang Ziming expressed his view. But Old Kong has insisted on appointing Old Go as deputy captain, which Old Wu is quite dissatisfied with. This must be a form of compensation for Old Wu. After all, the initiative for heroism and police-civilian collaboration was launched by him. Then we truly ought to express our gratitude to Old Wu. Zhuang Ziyou chuckled. Shall you invite him to dinner? Jian Yongzi teased with a smile, that I shall consider it for another time. Zhuang Ziyou retorted, disregarding his playful gaze, that moment. The oysters were ready, and Zhuang Ziyou instinctively opened the oysters for Lin Ruoxi. Jian Yongzi, noticing this, promptly opened oysters for Lin Lisin as well. Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing exchanged glances, pondering the nature of the two pairs. Were they indulging in public displays of affection? Yet upon closer inspection, both pairs indeed bore a striking resemblance to couples. Old Jian, my hand is injured today. Could you assist me with opening some as well? Huang Longxing jested, playfully provoking Jian Yongzi. I am preoccupied. Ask Old Zheng for assistance. Jian Yongzi replied nonchalantly. What a fellow who prioritizes romance over friendship. Zhang Ziming grumbled, do not speak nonsense, lest you ruin our brotherhood. Jian Yongzi observed Lin Lisin's cheeks flush with embarrassment, clearly shy, and hastily added that in truth, he was filled with immense joy. Ever since the first moment he laid eyes on Lin Lisin, he felt that she was destined to be his future wife. He confided this sentiment to Zhuang Ziyou, as well as to his parents, and now it was evident that he had a glimmer of hope. The feeling of love at first sight was indeed delightful. Zhuang Ziyou mused. he harbored warm feelings for Lin Ruoxi, having been captivated by this enchanting and spirited girl from the very first encounter. Although he did not explicitly express it, Jian Yongzhe was well aware of his intentions and had been diligently creating opportunities for him. Many are skeptical of the existence of love at first sight. However, the dynamics between men and women can be quite peculiar. Childhood friends, innocent and unassuming, may never develop romantic feelings for each other. Yet it is often the case that one falls for someone met only once. That it is indeed true that the initial meeting holds significant importance in one's life. Lin Ruoxi felt a slight warmth on her face. The words of Zheng Ziming and Huang Longxing regarding Jian Yongzhe and Lin Lisin seemed just as applicable to Zhuang Ziyou and herself. She was uncertain if she had truly fallen for this boy she had only seen a few times. But she knew that being with Zhuang Ziyou felt effortless and brought her joy. Moreover, she understood Zhuang Ziyou's feelings and recognized that Lin Lisin and Jian Yongzhe were playing matchmakers for her and Zhuang Ziyou. The night was enchanting, and the essence of spring grew stronger. The following evening at 7 o'clock, Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi ventured to stroll along the bustling Lindong pedestrian street. Initially, they had planned for 4 of them to go shopping together. But Jian Yongzhe and Lin Lisin had intentionally stood them up, sneaking off to watch a movie instead. This marked the first occasion Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi found themselves alone together, and both felt a touch of nervousness. The night illuminated Lindong pedestrian street with brilliant lights and a throng of people. They first meandered to the snack street to satisfy their appetites, and then wandered about, enjoying themselves. After a while, feeling a bit parched, they purchased 2 cans of coconut juice. After quenching their thirst, they continued their excursion, arriving just in time at the cinema entrance, with only a few minutes left before the screening of a romantic comedy. Lin Ruoxi proposed, "Shall we catch a movie as well?" "Absolutely." Zhuang Ziyou replied that he procured movie tickets along with pearl milk tea, ensuring they had the indispensable popcorn for a cinematic experience. The screening room was already populated with numerous attendees, and Zhuang Ziyou was astonished to see several pairs of middle school students clad in uniforms. They located their seats next to 2 of these students, who were engaged in animated conversation, with the female student occasionally bursting into laughter. Fortunately, once the film commenced, the 2 students fell silent, allowing the audience to immerse themselves in the humor of the film. Zhuang Ziyou subtly turned his face to glance at Lin Ruoxi. Amidst the shifting lights, her smile radiated like a blooming flower, reminiscent of a celestial beauty. Observing the 2 middle school students beside them, whose hands were now entwined, he yearned to hold Lin Ruoxi's hand as well. However, he hesitated, fearing he might come across as too forward. "We have only just met and are still getting to know each other. It is best to take our time," he reassured himself. Was it possible that today's middle school students were so uninhibited, daring to kiss in a movie theater without a care for those around them? Zhuang Ziyou was momentarily taken aback. Nevertheless, he found himself admiring the young lad's audacity. Such boldness promised a bright future ahead. He often hears people say that when pursuing a girl, one must be bold, meticulous, and thick-skinned, relentlessly persistent, without fear of rejection. This young lad evidently possesses considerable skill in this regard. This promising young man may also be aware that Zhuang Ziyou is observing him. As he provocatively casts a glance at Zhuang Ziyou before planting a kiss on the girl student, Zhuang Ziyou feels a surge of irritation, realizing he has been bested by a middle school student. Lin Ruoxi appears oblivious to this scene, continuing to watch the movie with utmost concentration, which calms Zhuang Ziyou's previously agitated heart. In truth, Lin Ruoxi has noticed the middle school student's provocation towards Zhuang Ziyou, and she anxiously contemplates. If Zhuang Ziyou were to dare kiss her, would she accept it or deliver a sharp slap? She harbors a fondness for Zhuang Ziyou, yet it has not reached a point of complete acceptance. She genuinely does not wish for him to kiss her at this moment. Fortunately, Zhuang Ziyou refrains from any rash actions in his impulsiveness. Lin Ruoxi feels a sense of relief and thinks to commend Zhuang Ziyou. Thus, she discreetly extends her small hand, seeking to grasp his. As their warm hands intertwine, both feel their hearts race. They exchange a glance, and it seems as though time and space have frozen in that instant. Leaving only the 2 of them, hand in hand, they contemplate a future together. Chapter 6. New Year. Amidst the sound of firecrackers, a year is ushered in, as the spring breeze brings warmth to the Tusu wine. On the first day of the new year, Lin Ruoxi awakens to the cacophony of firecrackers. She glances at the time, noting it is barely past 6 in the morning. Yet once awake, she finds it impossible to return to slumber. As the sporadic bursts of firecrackers reverberate all around, she dresses and steps outside, only to find Zhuang Ziyou has also risen. Ruoshi, did the firecrackers wake you? Zhuang Ziyou inquires. Indeed, is it customary for people to set off firecrackers this early? Lin Ruoshi nods in response that there's no helping it. Our hometown celebrates the new year with great festivity. I understand. Lin Ruoshi beams. That's wonderful. Zhuang Ziyou gently embraces her, after brushing their teeth and washing their faces. They descend to the ground floor. Zhuang Ziyou's parents are busily preparing the sweet treats and fruits for the morning offerings. Good morning, uncle and aunt. Lin Ruoshi greets. Good morning, Ruoshi. Zhuang Ziyou's parents replied, at that moment. Zhuang Ziyou's grandfather also rises. Good morning, grandpa. Lin Ruoshi and Zhuang Ziyou quickly extend their greetings. Very well, and how are you both? Grandpa responds with a beaming smile. Ruoshi, are you settling in comfortably? Grandpa, it's quite nice. That's good to hear. Grandpa expresses his satisfaction. Today, no killing is permitted. The offerings for worship include not only sweets and fruits, but also rice cakes, sugar figurines, and glutinous rice balls. Lin Ruoshi retraces the steps of yesterday's ritual offerings. She secretly resolves that today she will go with Zhuang Ziyou to buy fireworks for the evening's festivities. After breakfast, Lin Ruoshi eagerly pulls Zhuang Ziyou along to purchase fireworks. They ride off on a motorcycle. Basking in the springtime sun, occasionally, children fly kites, their laughter trailing behind as the kites soar into the breeze. Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoshi arrive at the market, where they purchase fireworks and kites. Upon returning home, Lin Ruoshi can hardly contain her excitement and urges Zhuang Ziyou to take her out to fly kites. They find a suitable spot devoid of crops, perfect for kite flying. Zhuang Ziyou gracefully launched a kite into the azure sky, while Lin Ruoshi ran gleefully, tugging at the string as the kite soared higher. Her laughter, reminiscent of silver bells, echoed in the air, a joyful melody that lingered. As night fell, Lin Ruoshi's wishes were fulfilled. She ignited the fireworks herself. On the second day of the Lunar New Year, the village of Zhuang Ziyou was bustling with the temple fair. At dawn, Zhuang Ziyou's parents took him and Lin Ruoshi to pay their respects to the deities. After a hearty breakfast, Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoshi followed the procession of the temple's grand deities on their outing. It had been many years since Zhuang Ziyou had participated in such festivities, and this was a delightful opportunity to satiate Lin Ruoshi's curiosity. Lin Ruoshi watched in awe as the deities were carried in ornate palanquins. Lifted by the villagers, colorful flags fluttered in the breeze, and the sound of drums and gongs filled the atmosphere. Golden lions heralded the new year, symbolizing peace and prosperity. Martial artists showcased their skills, celebrating an era of flourishing prosperity. Lin Ruoshi, her heart brimming with excitement, grasped Zhuang Ziyou's hand tightly. As the procession passed through clusters of villagers, many had set up tables laden with offerings to welcome the deities. The procession paused here for nearly an hour, allowing the deities to savor the tributes. Lin Ruoshi noticed an individual clad in a Taoist robe, leading the villagers in prayers for favorable weather and national tranquility. Is he a Taoist priest? She quietly inquired of Zhuang Ziyou. Sort of. He replied. Then may I dance with the lion later? Lin Ruoshi gazed at him with hopeful anticipation. Perhaps, really, indeed. After a while, the martial artists completed their lion dance and set the lion head aside to smoke and chat. Zhuang Ziyou approached them for a discussion. The martial artist graciously agreed to let Lin Ruoshi try her hand at manipulating the golden lion. Overjoyed, she stepped forward, lifted the lion head, and began to dance. Hee, she laughed, her charming face blooming like spring flowers. Zhuang Ziyou captured this enchanting moment on camera, preserving it forever. The Longhai Temple Fair had gained immense popularity since the Qing dynasty. It was a local folk celebration honoring deities, parading them, and praying for favorable weather and thriving industries, commemorating the roots of Longhai's ancestors. This day was not solely dedicated to parades and lion dances, but also involved a tradition where families hosted grand feasts for relatives and friends. Unbeknownst to Lin Ruoshi, while she and Zhuang Ziyou followed the procession, his parents were busily preparing for the deities' offerings and the evening's banquet. They had even invited 2 relatives to assist with the preparations. Lin Ruoshi enthusiastically helped with the vegetables, her spirits high. Gradually, Zhuang Ziyou's relatives began to arrive, various aunts and uncles, leaving Lin Ruoshi momentarily stunned by the sheer number of relatives. How could she possibly remember them all? Recalling Dong Yun's words, she maintained a cheerful demeanor, politely greeting each relative. That evening, Zhuang Ziyou's family hosted a lavish banquet, welcoming not only friends and relatives but also acquaintances brought along by others. Regardless of who attended, Zhuang Ziyou's family greeted each guest with warm smiles and heartfelt hospitality. Lin Ruoxi became the center of attention at the banquet. Not only were the aunts and uncles whispering about her, but Zhuang Ziyou's classmates from high school also playfully teased him, marveling at how he had quietly found a girlfriend as stunning as a star, evoking envy from those around, seated with Zhuang Ziyou at their table. Lin Ruoxi watched him become merrily intoxicated, a pang of heartache stirring within her. After several rounds of drinks and a variety of dishes, the atmosphere had become somewhat intoxicated among the classmates. One female student, buoyed by the spirit of the occasion, insisted on getting Zhuang Ziyou drunk, which did not sit well with Lin Ruoxi. She seized Zhuang Ziyou's wine cup and addressed the female student, saying, "Dear classmate, Ziyou has a poor appetite. I shall drink in his stead." The female student paused for a moment before exclaiming, "All right then, let us toast, sister." "Indeed, let us drink," Lin Ruoxi concurred. They downed their drinks with a certain audacity reminiscent of D.D. Rose's. This female student, named Lu Yao, possessed a heart-shaped face, willow-like brows, and eyes that sparkled with a certain allure, suggesting she had the potential to be quite the seductress. At the age of 25, she worked at the county police department and had harbored feelings for Zhuang Ziyou. However, for reasons unbeknownst to him, he felt she was not suited for him, and he lacked that exhilarating sensation in her presence that "You're quite impressive. Care for another drink?" Lu Yao challenged Lin Ruoxi with a provocative gaze. Lin Ruoxi chuckled inwardly. "Do you not know I hail from the north? Of course, I shall drink." She was unyielding in her response. Zhuang Ziyou and their other classmates noticed the tension and joined in, allowing them to avert a conflict between the women without any visible hostility. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the night began to unfurl. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, fireworks erupted from an unknown household, prompting many villagers to join in the celebration. The night sky was ablaze with colors, and the scent of gunpowder thickened the air, captivating the children at the dining table, who momentarily lost interest in their meal, much to the chagrin of their parents. Lin Ruoxi's eyes lit up. She set aside her mental sparring with Lu Yao and quickly resumed her meal. "Once we finish dining, we can set off fireworks," she thought gleefully. Wen Yu agreed, but insisted that their festivities should not interfere with the police investigation. Zhuang Ziyou naturally acquiesced. They diligently analyzed the reports, seeking to connect with the complainants for a deeper understanding of the situation. As for Zhang Feng, it was evident he had received a warning from Hong Hui, rendering any further contact with him futile. However, without the complainants' contact numbers, they hesitated to approach the individuals at their stalls, fearing it would raise the alarm with Hong Hui and his associates. This left them struggling to find a breakthrough. As the saying goes, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Though the sky appears clear, there are clouds. Shortly after 5 in the afternoon, just as Zhuang Ziyou and his companions were feeling somewhat lost, a piece of good news invigorated them. Yuan Hongguang called Zhuang Ziyou to share a promising update. After a night of rigorous questioning and investigations into Han Song, the police uncovered a trove of indecent photos and videos on his computer. Furthermore, they discovered a suspicious phone number on Han Song's mobile device. Under the guidance of the Lindong District Public Security Bureau, they traced this number back to an employee of an illegal foreign website masquerading as an art image repository, which had already attracted the attention of the Lindong District authorities. With Han Song's arrest, the Bureau's leadership decided to expedite their operation, launching an immediate crackdown. They followed the leads to the Ely Electronic Plaza on the 5th floor in Lindong District, where they dismantled an illegal site, seizing 8 computers along with a plethora of other criminal tools and obscene discs. I am presently on site assisting the district criminal police team with their investigation. You are welcome to come over. After Yuan Hongguang concluded his statement, he hung up the phone. Zhuang Ziyou and Jian Yongzi hastily boarded the car, heading towards the Ely Electronic Plaza in Linzhong District. "That old Yuan is quite cunning, notifying us only at this juncture." Jian Yongzi expressed some displeasure in the vehicle. However, there is little that can be done. The public security system has a collaborative relationship with the Lingang City television station, undoubtedly allowing them to accompany the investigation, and the fact that they could inform us is already a courtesy. Zhuang Ziyou chuckled. The Ely Electronic Plaza in Linzhong District is in close proximity to Zhuang Ziyou's current location in Lindong District. The car traveled along Lingang Avenue and arrived in just over 10 minutes. After parking, they took the elevator from the basement parking lot to the 5th floor. On the 5th floor, several police officers were in the process of packaging evidence. 7 or 8 men and women, handcuffed and dejected, squatted on the ground. Meanwhile, several reporters from the television station were conducting interviews on site. While journalists from other news agencies had yet to arrive, a crowd of onlookers gathered outside, curiously pointing and whispering, with some discreetly taking photographs with their phones. Upon seeing Zhuang Ziyou and his companion approach, a police officer who appeared to be of a lower rank inquired about their presence. They promptly produced their press credentials to clarify their identities to that moment. Yuan Hongguang emerged from the room and informed the officer, Deputy Captain Go. This is the journalist Zhuang Ziyou, who apprehended the suspect Han Song. Then you may interview alongside the television station's reporters, but please refrain from disturbing the evidence, the officer replied, scrutinizing Zhuang Ziyou and his colleague before resuming his efforts to manage the evidence collection and maintain order. Jian Yongzhe swiftly retrieved his camera to take photographs to that moment. A senior-looking police officer approached, and Yuan Hongguang introduced him, stating, "This is Comrade Wu Changqing, the Deputy Director of the Lindong District Public Security Bureau and the Captain of the Criminal Police Team. You are the journalist who captured Han Song, Zhuang Ziyou, correct? I am Wu Changqing, and on behalf of the Lindong District Public Security Bureau's Criminal Police Team, I extend my gratitude for your courageous actions," Wu Changqing said with a smile, shaking hands with Zhuang Ziyou. Engaging in the fight against wrongdoing is indeed the duty of every citizen, and as a journalist, it is even more imperative for me, Zhuang Ziyou replied, surprised that the police would characterize his actions as heroic. You are absolutely correct. To build a harmonious society, we must ensure public security, which necessitates the involvement of more citizens. Understanding and supporting our police work is of utmost importance, Wu Changqing remarked with a sigh. Moreover, this requires the vigorous promotion by your media outlets. We hope that your newspaper and other news agencies will continue to cooperate with our police in the future. Certainly, maintaining public order is a shared responsibility for all, Zhuang Ziyou responded with a smile. Journalist Zhuang, you possess a remarkable sense of justice. Wu Changqing also smiled. Jian Jiangze and the television station's reporters captured the moment of their handshake. Preparing for an on-site interview with Wu Changqing. At this juncture, well-informed reporters arrived, their cameras trained on Wu Changqing, flashes popping in rapid succession. Wu Changqing then stated, 1 month ago, we, the Lindong Police, received a report from a citizen regarding an illegal foreign website operating within our city. The individuals behind this site were using the guise of an art image website to disseminate illicit photographs and inappropriate videos. The police in Lindong promptly initiated an investigation and identified several suspect websites, effectively implementing surveillance measures that led them to the site known as Lingang Arts. Coincidentally, just last night, citizens in our Lindong district apprehended an individual suspected of clandestine filming at a local bar. Following interrogation and examination, a suspicious number was discovered on the suspect's mobile phone. Upon thorough investigation, it was revealed that this number belonged to one of the illegal operators associated with the aforementioned website. Consequently, the leadership of the precinct decided to act swiftly, coordinating an operation for immediate execution. Under the guidance of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, we followed the leads, collaborating with the police in Lindong, and successfully dismantled an illegal station located on the 5th floor of Ili Electronic Plaza in Lindong District. We seized 8 desktop computers, 5 laptops, and a collection of mobile phones and other tools used in the commission of crimes, along with a substantial quantity of obscene discs. On behalf of the police, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the courageous journalist Zhuang Ziyou from the Lingang Evening News and to all the other brave citizens involved. Thank you. It is precisely through the close cooperation between the police and the community that we were able to resolve this case so swiftly. Moreover, it is evident that creating a harmonious society and fostering a sound public security environment requires greater participation from our citizens, who must understand and support our work in law enforcement. This is of utmost significance. Here, I urge our media colleagues to amplify their efforts in promoting awareness, encouraging citizens to take action and join us in the collective fight against illegal activities. Wu Changqing recounted the developments of the case, particularly expressing gratitude towards Zhuang Ziyou for his valor. A female reporter from the television station then interviewed Zhuang Ziyou, inquiring about his thoughts at the moment of apprehending the suspect. At that time, I was thinking too much. My sole focus was on capturing the peeping perpetrator. In fact, there were others present assisting, especially a courageous young woman who was the first to spot the wrongdoer and relentlessly pursued him, which enabled me to seize the opportunity to apprehend him alongside her, Zhuang Ziyou calmly stated. Across from him, a reporter named Jian Jiangze discreetly gestured for him to elaborate, but Zhuang Ziyou felt there was little more to say. Moreover, he knew that the television station would likely edit any excess commentary. Nonetheless, the female reporter remained professional and continued her inquiries. "What are your views on acts of courage?" Zhuang Ziyou replied. The analect states, "To see a right action and not act upon it is to lack courage. In my perspective, it is everyone's duty to bravely intervene against wrongdoing, and as a journalist, I feel an even greater obligation to do so. Thank you to my colleague Zhuang for participating in this interview. I believe it is the collective spirit of individuals like you, who stand resolutely against malevolence, that makes it increasingly difficult for wrongdoers to evade justice, thereby contributing to the improving public safety in Ligang." The female reporter nodded in agreement and then asked, "You mentioned a brave young woman who assisted in apprehending the suspect. Can you get in touch with her?" "Unfortunately, I do not have her contact information," Zhuang Ziyou replied. "May I ask, Deputy Director Wu, does your police department have the contact details for this courageous young woman?" The female reporter then posed her question to Wu Cha-ching. "I'm afraid we do not have her contact information either," Wu replied apologetically. Wu Cha-ching remarked, further elucidating that she is merely an ordinary witness who may voluntarily choose whether or not to provide her contact information. The television footage shifted to the interview scene, where plainclothes police officers initially feigned a visit to inspect fire safety equipment. Once the door was opened, they surged inside, swiftly apprehending all individuals present who were engrossed in their tasks, before subsequently presenting their arrest warrant. The suspects within were taken aback by this sudden intervention, obediently crouching on the ground with their hands on their heads. In the civil servants' family compound of Lingang City, the television was on, and coincidentally, it was broadcasting the Lingang satellite channel. "Oh my, isn't that the young reporter?" Lin Lisan exclaimed suddenly. Lin Ruoshi turned her gaze to the screen, where Zhuang Ziyou was being interviewed. Upon hearing his mention of her, a smile crept onto her face. "This fellow is indeed fair-minded. He remembers to speak of us, though he does appear rather plump on television. He has gained a bit of weight," Li Mingru concurred. "Who are you talking about, and why the discussion of weight?" Dong Yun inquired, emerging from the kitchen with a dish in hand. "It's him." Lin Lisan pointed at Zhuang Ziyou on the screen. "Is he a friend of yours?" Dong Yun asked. "I suppose so. We have apprehended criminals together." Lin Lisan replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "You apprehended criminals together?" Dong Yun probed further. "And who is the girl he mentioned? It wouldn't be Ruoshi, would it?" A mother's intuition proved accurate, as she guessed correctly. "Indeed, Ruoshi and he worked in tandem to capture that villain," Lin Lisan blurted out, oblivious to Lin Ruoshi's frantic gestures. "Haha, our Ruoshi has truly grown in competence and bravery," Dong Yun chuckled, casting a pointed glance at Lin Ruoshi. "I say, Lin the lawyer, have you considered renaming yourself Lin Jingwei?" Lin Ruoshi shot Lin Lisan an exasperated look, fully understanding her mother's implication. "Oh dear, I got carried away in my moment of pride. My apologies, hee." At that juncture, the news segment concluded, and in the kitchen, Lin Zheng had finished preparing the meal. The spread included 6 dishes and 1 soup: sour and spicy boneless duck feet, stir-fried beef, Peking duck, and Sichuan-style duck heads, all favorites of the 3 young women. "Dad, you are simply amazing. Next time I come to Lingang, I must come over for a meal," Li Mingru exclaimed with a smile. "What nonsense about coming over. The next time you come, just stay at our home," Dong Yun replied cheerfully. "Then I shall stay over next time," Li Mingru chuckled. "The dishes cooked by Dad and Mom are simply delightful." Lin Lisan chimed in, noting that her work in Lingang often led her to drop by for meals. "I initially suggested hot pot, but the old man insisted on showcasing his culinary skills." Lin Ruoshi picked up a piece of sour and spicy boneless duck feet, one of her favorite dishes. They dined and chatted, embodying the warmth of a close-knit family. Chapter 7. The Essence of Life. However, the warmth of life that Zhuang Ziyou was experiencing was soon disrupted by a group of unwelcome guests. Suddenly, 3 white vans came to a halt on the road in front of the Fugu Gourmet Barbecue City, from which armed city management enforcement personnel emerged. They encircled the barbecue venue, and a leader-like figure among them declared that Fugu Barbecue City was operating without a license and had violated the Lingang City Urban Appearance and Sanitation Management regulations. They proceeded to confiscate all tools used for illegal operations and instructed the owner to appear at the Municipal Urban Administrative Law Enforcement Bureau the following day to pay the fine. Upon concluding their remarks, the city management officials hastily began to transfer tables and barbecue grills onto the large truck that had arrived behind them. Some officials wielded cameras, capturing the scene. The truck was already laden with numerous items, indicating that significant confiscations had occurred elsewhere. This spectacle bore a striking resemblance to an invasion, evoking a sense of chaos. A female patron, startled, let out a shriek, blending with the explanations from the owner. Fu Ge, and the lamentations of the proprietress, creating a tumultuous atmosphere. A crowd gathered, engaging in fervent discussions, while others brandished their mobile phones to document the events. We are preserving the on-site enforcement video. You instruct those bystanders to refrain from filming, commanded one of the officials. Several city management personnel approached the onlookers, urging them not to interfere with the enforcement proceedings. Behind the city officials trailed several uniformed police officers, dispatched by the municipal enforcement team to deter any potential violent resistance. With no violence to contend with, the officers observed the unfolding drama with detached interest. Zhuang Ziyou and his companions remained seated, quietly enjoying their barbecue. Liming Ru appeared somewhat bewildered, having never witnessed such a scene before. "Hey, comrades, please stand aside. We need to load these tables and chairs onto the truck," a burly man announced. "Captain He, could you please allow the guests to finish their meals before proceeding?" Fu Ge interjected, noting that the barbecue grill and refrigerator had already been taken by the city officials. "No, tonight is a citywide coordinated operation. Do you not see the 10 or more vehicles from our enforcement bureau behind? Moreover, this is the leadership from the municipal enforcement team. We cannot wait," Captain He replied. "Help them carry the cooked items back inside the shop." "Those will not be confiscated today," he suggested, recognizing that Zhuang Ziyou and his companions did not appear to be ordinary patrons, displaying a rare sense of humanity. "Hurry and remove these items. We are pressed for time," the lead city official said impatiently. "Let us take the items back into the shop." Lin Ruoshi pondered for a moment before rising. Although her father was the mayor, she had never entertained thoughts of privilege and wished to avoid causing him any trouble. Despite witnessing the city management officials' aggressive confiscation that marred her pleasant mood, she resolved to assist. Fu Ge helped carry the food back into the establishment, with Zhuang Ziyou and his companions also taking some items inside. The municipal official observed them with a cold gaze, remaining silent. Captain He briskly directed the officials to load the chairs and tables onto the truck, and soon the leadership from the Municipal Enforcement Bureau, accompanied by dozens of officials, boarded the vehicle and departed, leaving behind a scene of disarray. The proprietress, wiping her tears, and an elderly lady began to tidy up the premises, although a refrigerator containing spare supplies remained, allowing for continued operation. Many patrons had come specifically for the smoky barbecue experience, and the electric grilling lacked the enticing ambience, resulting in a dwindling clientele. Fu Ge, I sincerely apologize. We were outside enjoying barbecue and did not enter the shop, leading to the confiscation of your items, and we were unable to assist you. I feel truly ashamed, Zhuang Ziyou expressed as he approached Fu Ge. This is not your fault. Barbecue is about the atmosphere, the essence of earthly delights. Fu Ge replied with a wry smile. Don't mention you all. I too enjoy grilling with smokeless charcoal outdoors. Cooking on this electric stove truly lacks any sensation. Jian Zhangzi happened to pass by and inquired. Haven't you established a better rapport with the urban management team? Of course I have. I pay them every month, treating it as part of my rent, Fu Ge said, glancing at the remaining patrons in the shop before lowering his voice. But please, do not let this information spread. Understood? Zhuang Ziyou and the others nodded in agreement. Running a small business nowadays is quite challenging. Lin Lisan sighed, lamenting that I truly did not expect the urban management here in Lingang to be so formidable. It nearly frightened me. Li Mingru added, there's no way around it. Mayor Liu issued directives upon taking office last year to intensify efforts in beautifying the urban landscape of Lingang, implementing the three-nose policy, which compels the urban management to work even harder. Zhang Ziming explained. Three-nose policy? I thought it was the three abolitions policy. Lin Lisan teased. What does the three-nose policy entail? It consists of, first, no unauthorized construction. Second, no illegal parking. Third, no disorderly selling. Zhang Ziming clarified. Well, that sounds reasonable. But why do these urban management officers act as if invaders have entered the village? They are clearly set up in front of their own shop, nearly 10 meters from the sidewalk. And they still intervene? Li Mingru remarked. Did not the urban management say that this constitutes unlicensed operation? Huang Longxing responded. But it's impossible to obtain a business license for barbecue stalls in Ligang. Yet, don't they have a sole proprietorship license and a food service health permit displayed? Lin Ruoshi pointed to the certificates hanging behind the cash register. I checked, and there is no mention of a barbecue category, Zhuang Ziyou commented. I have visited numerous cities and believe that the most vibrant places are the snack streets, especially those with roadside barbecues, Li Mingru asserted. However, the higher-ups do not require such vibrancy. After all, they do not indulge in barbecues. They feast on rare delicacies, unlike the fare of the common folk. Lin Lisan retorted. Oh dear, Miss Lin is becoming increasingly reminiscent of a discontented youth. This simply won't do. Lin Ruoshi teased. I am merely an ordinary citizen. Neither a lady nor a discontented youth, yet how many officials genuinely disguise themselves to understand the real lives of the common people? Lin Lisan remarked. None among Zhuang Ziyou and the others countered her words. Nowadays, when officials conduct grassroots research, how many are not accompanied by a throng of aides? It is understandable for high-ranking officials from central or provincial governments to take necessary security measures for safety. But for a mere town mayor to visit a village accompanied by a large entourage seems excessive. For the sake of political achievements, our Mayor Liu is truly striving. Lin Ruoshi mused. He aspires to rise further. He must put in the effort. Zhuang Ziyou added. The group fell silent momentarily. Let us not dwell on these matters any longer. Since we are fortunate to have so many here tonight, shall we finish our barbecue and then go karaoke? Jian Yongza proposed. I think not. I have a flight to catch tomorrow afternoon, Li Mingru replied. Shall we go then? Your visit is a rare occasion. Let us indulge in one more delightful evening, Lin Lisan exclaimed. Lin Ruoshi echoed her sentiment, and Li Ming readily concurred. Naturally, Zhuang Ziyou agreed as well, recognizing that Jian Yongza was crafting an opportunity for himself. Seeing that everyone else had assented, Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing also chose not to oppose. The recent incident involving the city management seizing items had cast a shadow over their revelry, leaving them somewhat restrained in their merriment. Furthermore, the absence of the smoky allure of barbecued delicacies rendered the experience somewhat lacking in flavor. After finishing the barbecue, Zhuang Ziyou settled the bill, and the group made their way to the unnight city KTV nearby. As Zhuang Ziyou gazed at the building, memories of his encounter with Lin Ruoshi a few days prior flooded his mind, stirring a wave of emotions within him. Stealing a glance at Lin Ruoshi, he found her gaze directed towards him as well. They exchanged a subtle smile, the unspoken understanding evident between them. They opted for a medium-sized private room, ordering a fruit platter and an assortment of snacks, complemented by an ample supply of alcohol. Lin Ruoshi suggested they sing a few songs before diving into the drinks. The gentlemen contented themselves with listening to the melodies while sipping their drinks. Finding the arrangement quite agreeable, the young ladies sang remarkably well, beginning with an English song, Big Big World, which was nearly on par with the original artist rendition. The second song, another English classic, Yesterday Once More, evoked a poignant sense of nostalgia for the past. Jian Yongza initiated the applause, and the men were entranced by the girls' harmonious voices, momentarily forgetting their drinks. Zhuang Ziyou had not anticipated Lin Ruoshi and the others to possess such vocal prowess in English. He himself had an affinity for certain engaging English songs, particularly Take Me to Your Heart, though he lacked the skill to perform it. Encouraged by the gentlemen, Lin Ruoshi and her friends sang several songs, both in Chinese and English, featuring solo performances as well as duets, all executed quite well. After a while, the young ladies remarked that their voices were becoming fatigued, prompting them to invite the gentlemen to sing. With their impressive performances setting the bar high, the men, aware of their own limitations, hesitated to take the stage. Lao Zhuang, don't you adore singing the English version of Kiss Goodbye? Go ahead and sing it. I've already queued it up for you, Jian Zhangzi declared. Zhuang Ziyou initially intended to decline, but noticing the expectant gazes of the three young ladies, he found it difficult to refuse and finally said, I'm not very good at singing. Please don't laugh at me. Nonsense. Get ready. It's about to start. Jian Zhangzi chuckled. Hiding to forget, yet I am met with rain and snow, striving to erase memories. But I cannot relinquish them. Gazing at a bustling street. Take me to your heart, take me to your soul, extend your hand and embrace me. Reveal to me the essence of love, be my guiding star. It is a simple request. Take me to your heart. Having completed the song, Zhuang Ziyou felt a surge of exceptional performance, surpassing his usual capabilities. Zhuang Ziyou, you sang remarkably well. Why the humility just now? Lin Lisan initiated applause. I truly struggle with singing, Zhuang Ziyou admitted. Then you must sing several more songs today. Lin Lisan insisted. No, let the ladies sing. We gentlemen shall indulge in some drinks, Zhuang Ziyou replied. That will not do. We are not performers, and after singing for such a duration, we should enjoy a drink to soothe our throats. You must sing at least 3 songs, Lin Lisan declared authoritatively. Reluctantly, Zhuang Ziyou sang 2 more songs, one titled Loyalty to the Nation, and the other The Vast Sky. Jian Yongza and others also wished to sing a few songs before the ladies finally relented. In the end, they resumed rolling dice. The losers were compelled not only to drink, but also to sing that I must control myself. I won't allow anyone to see my tears, feigning indifference towards you. Unwilling to recall you. Tell me, where is the starry sky? Is there an end to it? Just make a wish upon a shooting star, allowing you to know that I love you. Her voice was hauntingly beautiful. and Zhuang Ziyou found himself entranced. Chapter 8. The Transaction of Power and Desire. Recently, Zhuang Ziyou, the chief of the Public Security Bureau of Lindong District, has been rather troubled. Not only has she encountered several disobedient subordinates, but issues have also arisen with Wang Long. The most pressing concern is that her former superior informed her that certain leaders in the city deemed her actions too ostentatious and were preparing to reprimand her. At the age of 40, Zhuang Ziyou was once the belle of the town, the object of affection for countless men. Although she has lost some of her youthful allure, she remains graceful, her charm undiminished. A couple of days ago, she heard from Wang Long that reporters were investigating him and that he wished for her assistance in managing the situation. However, Zhuang Ziyou declined. Her former superior had specifically instructed her to maintain a lower profile recently. Wang Long and his company, Lingtong Hailong Seafood Company Limited, had been reported multiple times, yet Zhuang Ziyou managed to suppress the issues each time. She claimed that an investigation had been initiated, and after her discreet maneuvers, the Bureau's officers conducted only a cursory inquiry into Wang Long's company before hastily closing the case. Zhuang Ziyou also took the opportunity to review her past actions, ensuring that nothing had been overlooked. Moreover, she implored her former superior to explore the possibility of leveraging connections with the city leadership, ideally to cultivate a relationship with Mayor Liu Zhengtiao. The old leader responded that he had already been working on this matter. But Liu Zhengtiao had a voracious appetite, preferring to socialize with wealthy businessmen, and was somewhat wary of officials beneath him. If only I were a decade younger, Zhuang Ziyou reflected upon hearing his words. Zhuang Ziyou had always held the belief that her physicality was her greatest asset. She could entice the old leader into her bed and could similarly allure officials of even higher rank. However, now that she had aged and lost her allure, she found herself unable to charm the higher-ups and could only rely on subordinates to curry favor with her, over the years leveraging her power. She had engaged in the trade of official positions, accumulating a substantial fortune, certainly in the millions. Her innate greed for wealth and beauty was well known within the precinct. It was understood that to ascend the ranks, one must possess both affluence and charm. The price for a police chief was $1 million. Furthermore, possessing talent, which included attractiveness and a willingness to serve her, could also facilitate promotions. At present, she exhibited a pronounced preference for beauty over wealth. Having recently declined an offer of $500,000 for the position of deputy team leader, instead bestowing it upon Go Jun without hesitation, sitting in her office, she pondered this matter, self-deprecatingly mused. I value talent more than money. The exchange of a lover for $500,000, was it a loss or a gain? Who could truly say? Recalling the old leader's words, she resolved to arrange a meeting with him that evening, intending to present him with some gifts to encourage his engagement. At 7 p.m., in a private room on the 5th floor of the Hai Tian Ise restaurant at Lindong District's Lingang Bay. A sumptuous spread of 6 dishes and a soup, accompanied by a bottle of mitai, adorned the table. Zhuang Ziyou was attentively peeling boiled prawns for the casually dressed old leader, reminiscent of her days as a housekeeper in his home. Yu Guang, age 54, was a distinguished figure, serving as a member of the Standing Committee of the Lingang Municipal Party Committee, Secretary of the Political and Legal Affairs Committee, and Director of the Public Security Bureau. He had brought along a beautiful young woman in her 20s, his housekeeper and adopted daughter named Mei Mei, who happened to be Zhuang Ziyou's fellow townswoman. Technically, she should address Zhuang Ziyou as aunt. But it was this so-called aunt who had introduced her to Yu Guang's bed. At that moment, Mei Mei regarded Zhuang Ziyou with a mixture of amusement and envy, aware that this woman was the esteemed director of the Lindong Public Security Bureau, a legendary figure whom she aspired to emulate. Yu Guang had already promised her that she would be placed within the public security system next year, starting as an ordinary clerk before rising through the ranks. He was quite adept at such maneuvers. Brother Guang, I will certainly remember your words. I have been very discreet. Even the recent case that the precinct cracked, I entrusted to Wu Cha-ching, Zhuang Ziyou stated. Shao Jie, your actions are commendable, although he is not part of our team. He has some connections at the provincial department that we cannot afford to offend. Yu Guang said earnestly. I understand that, Brother Guang. Zhuang Ziyou replied. I believe you do not fully comprehend. Wu Cha-ching is keen on that Seng Ziming and wishes to see him appointed as deputy team leader. Why inject yourself into this matter? Yu Guang expressed his dissatisfaction. Brother Guang, Seng Ziming is unruly and unsuitable for the deputy team leader position. Zhuang Ziyou clarified, the quality of our performance is not our concern. But your interference certainly casts a negative influence, Yu Guang remarked. Brother Guang, could it be that someone from the provincial office has intervened? Zhuang Ziyou felt a twinge of anxiety. Not at all. But you must exercise some discretion in your actions. Pushing out someone like Go Jun will inevitably offend many, he replied. "So what should we do now?" She inquired. "Isn't Wuchaching organizing some sort of police-civilian interaction initiative? Preparing to promote a group of exemplary citizens? Support that endeavor and see if it can mend some fences." "All right, I understand what to do," she responded. "Moreover, regarding Wang Long's situation, it would be prudent for you to distance yourself from it swiftly. And it would be best for Wang Long to follow his previous course of action and seek refuge abroad to avoid the turmoil." "Understood. I will heed your advice." The nearby Mei Mei listened attentively, recognizing this as a valuable opportunity for her learning. Once Yu Guang felt he had provided sufficient guidance, he turned his focus to enjoying the meal and drinks. He had a penchant for seafood and Maodai liquor. Thus 5 out of the 6 dishes were marine delicacies: Australian lobster, boiled shrimp, South African abalone, king crab, and geoduck clam. Despite being 54 years old, Yu Guang had quite the appetite, perhaps due to his considerable demands in that regard. Kong Jie and Mei Mei took turns serving him food and pouring drinks. One was a graceful woman in her middle age, still possessing charm, while the other was a youthful beauty exuding vigor. Yu Guang's eyes gradually became dreamy. This evening's host was Ku Cheng, the chairman of Haotian Entertainment Media Co. Ltd. AS, a renowned entertainment media company in Hagang City. Haotian has been actively establishing its presence in Ligang. They are now preparing to launch a Huaxia Entertainment New Talent Rankings event to scout for promising newcomers in the entertainment industry. Tonight, they had specially invited Lu Zhongdao, fully aware that his approval was essential for the success of their endeavor in Ligang. Amidst the clinking of glasses and jovial exchanges, the gathering was filled with merriment. By the time the banquet concluded, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. Ke Ching and the senior executives of Haotian Entertainment escorted Lu Zhongdao and Miss Long down to the street. Nearby, a drunken male patron, captivated by the enchanting Miss Long, brazenly shouted for a hug, and his friends, along with Lu Zhongdao's driver, Xiao Xiao, struggled to pull him away. The beautiful Miss Long was taken aback, her face pale with fright, while Lu Zhongdao's expression darkened, ready to unleash his fury. Just then, a figure rushed over, seizing the drunken man and executing a clean shoulder throw. That individual was none other than Yu Guang, who had noticed Lu Zhongdao and Miss Long at the restaurant earlier but had hesitated to greet them. Now, witnessing the drunken ruckus, he stepped forward, fueled by the effects of alcohol. Lu Zhongdao nodded in acknowledgement upon seeing Yu Guang, and he and Miss Long departed in separate vehicles. Ke Ching looked at the inebriated man sprawled on the ground, regretting his decision not to bring bodyguards this evening. "What gives you the right? Just for harassing a woman," Yu Guang proclaimed, resolutely. "Indeed, we can all attest to that," chimed in the representatives from Haotian Entertainment. The drunken man gradually regained some sobriety, noticing the restaurant manager arriving with security. After his friends urged him, he climbed into a vehicle and left out while Yu Guang, wishing to avoid escalating the situation, watched them drive away. "Thank you, sir," Kucheng expressed politely to Yu Guang, who was a stranger to him. "No need for formality, it was a trivial matter," Yu Guang replied with a smile. Ke Ching exchanged a few more polite words, and then departed with the personnel from Haotian Entertainment Media. Naturally, the manager of the restaurant expressed his gratitude as well. While Yu Guang engaged in some pleasantries before driving away, he had already instructed Kong Jie to take Mei Mei and leave first, and it was likely that they were now waiting for him at their familiar old spot. He felt a mix of pride and disappointment, proud that he had showcased his prowess before Lu Zhongdao, yet disappointed that neither Mei Mei nor Kong Jie witnessed his recent display of skill. He mused to himself that he must ensure they see his enduring prowess tonight. Miss Long, still shaken, clung to Lu Zhongdao, overwhelmed by fear. "Don't be afraid, my dear." Lu Zhongdao, noticing the pretty girl's face had gone pale, felt a pang of pain in his heart. "Brother Tao, that person was truly terrifying. I couldn't even break free," Miss Long said, her voice trembling. "My dear, there's nothing to fear. He was merely a drunken fool. Did you not see how Yu Guang dispatched him with a single throw? Indeed, Director Yu is formidable. I hardly caught a glimpse of his movements before that man fell to the ground. Yes, despite being over 50, old Yu's agility rivals that of a youth. Brother Tao, are you suggesting he is still in his prime?" Miss Long smiled softly and then kissed Lu Zhongdao on the cheek, adding, "Our brother Tao is also as sharp as ever." With that, she giggled. Chapter 9. The Award Ceremony. Kong Jie, the director of the police department in Lindong District, found herself troubled lately, not only due to several unruly subordinates within the department but also because of emerging issues on Wang Long's side. The most pressing concern was that her former superior had informed her that some city officials believed her actions were overly ostentatious and were preparing to reprimand her. At the age of 40, Kong Jie had once been the belle of the town, captivating countless admirers. Though she no longer possessed the youthful allure of her earlier years, she still exuded a mature charm. A few days prior, she had learned from Wang Long that reporters were investigating him and hoped Kang Jie would intervene on his behalf. However, Kang Jie refused, having been expressly cautioned by her former superior to adopt a more low-profile approach. Wang Long and his company, Lindong Hailong Seafood Company Limited, had faced multiple complaints, all of which Kang Jie had managed to suppress. She claimed that an investigation was underway, and after discreetly maneuvering the situation, the police under her command conducted only a cursory examination of Wang Long's business before hastily closing the case. Kang Jie also reviewed her previous actions to ensure nothing had been overlooked. Furthermore, she implored her former superior to explore connections with city leaders, particularly hoping to establish a rapport with Mayor Liu Zhengdao. Her former superior informed her that he had already been working on this. But Liu Zhengdao had an insatiable appetite for associating with affluent businessmen and was somewhat wary of officials like him. If only I were a decade younger, Kang Jie reflected after hearing her superior's words. She had always believed that her body was her greatest asset, capable of seducing not only her former superior but also higher-ranking officials. However, she is now aged and lost her charm, unable to curry favor with her superiors, and is left with no choice but to rely on her subordinates to flatter her instead. Over the years, leveraging the power at her disposal, she has traded positions of authority, amassing considerable wealth, certainly in the millions. Her inherent greed for wealth and pleasure is well known among many in the precinct. To ascend the ranks, one must possess both riches and talent. The price for a police chief's position is set at 1 million. Additionally, good looks and a willingness to serve her can also lead to promotional opportunities. Presently, she exhibits a distinct preference for beauty over wealth, as evidenced by her decision to bestow the position of deputy team leader to Go Jun without hesitation. Despite another candidate offering 500,000 for the role. At this moment, Kang Jie sits in her office, contemplating this matter. I value talent more than wealth. She muses self-deprecatingly. Is it a loss or a gain to exchange a lover for 500,000? Who can truly say? Kang Jie recalls the words of her former superior and resolves to invite him out that evening, bringing along some gifts to encourage him to mingle more. At 7 p.m. In a private room on the 5th floor of the Hai Tian Ise restaurant at Linzhong District's Lingang Bay, a table is set with 6 dishes, a soup, and a bottle of Maodai liquor. Kang Jie is diligently peeling boiled shrimp for her former superior, who is dressed casually, reminiscent of her time as a housekeeper in his home. Yu Guang, age 54, is a distinguished-looking man, serving as a member of the Municipal Standing Committee and the Secretary of the Political and Legal Affairs Committee, as well as the Director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. He has brought along a beautiful girl in her 20s, a maid from his household and also his goddaughter. Her name is Mei Mei, a fellow townswoman of Kang Jie, who would technically be called Auntie by Kang Jie. Yet, it is this so-called Auntie who has delivered her to Yu Guang Sbed. At this moment, Mei Mei observes Kang Jie with a sense of amusement, quickly overshadowed by jealousy. She knows that this woman before her is the esteemed director of the Lindong Public Security Bureau, a legendary figure whom she aspires to emulate. Yu Guang has already mentioned that he would arrange for her to enter the public security system next year, starting as an ordinary clerk before ascending the ranks. Yu Guang is quite adept at such maneuvers. Brother Guang, I will certainly remember your words. I have been quite low-key. Even the recent case that the precinct cracked was handled by Wu Cha-ching. Kang Jie states, Shao Jie, you were correct in doing so. Although he is not one of us, he has certain connections in the provincial department that we cannot afford to offend. Yu Guang advises in a serious tone. I understand, Brother Guang. Kang Jie replies. I believe you do not fully comprehend. Wu Cha-ching is backing Zhang Ziming for the position of deputy team leader. Why do you need to interfere? Yu Guang expresses his dissatisfaction. Brother Guang, Zhang Ziming is unruly and unfit for the role of deputy team leader. Kang Jie defends. Whether he is fit or not is not our concern, but your interference is detrimental. Yu Guang counters. Brother Guang, is there someone in the provincial department making inquiries? Kang Jie suddenly feels a sense of tension. Not exactly, but you must exercise discretion in your actions. Pushing out a Go Jun will certainly offend many. Yu Guang cautions. What should we do now? Kang Jie inquires. Isn't Wu Cha-ching currently promoting some community police collaboration initiative, highlighting a model of bravery? You should lend your support to that, perhaps to mend some relationships. Yu Guang suggests. All right, I now know how to proceed. Kang Jie responds. Furthermore, regarding the matter of Wang Long, it would be prudent for you to extricate yourself from the situation as swiftly as possible. Ideally, you should urge Wang Long to retreat abroad, just as he did previously, to evade the storm. Very well, I shall heed Brother Guang's counsel. Beside him, Mei Mei listened intently, recognizing this as a valuable opportunity for learning. As Yu Guang perceived that the pointers had been sufficiently imparted, he began to focus on indulging in the delectable dishes and fine wine before him. He had a penchant for seafood and preferred Mao Tai. Thus among the 6 dishes, 5 were of marine origin: Australian lobster, boiled prawns, South African abalone, king crab, and geoduck clam. Despite being 54 years of age, Yu Guang had quite an appetite, which perhaps also accounted for his considerable demands in other aspects. Kong Jie and Mei Mei assisted him, one serving him food while the other poured his drinks. One was a mature beauty, still exuding charm. The other, youthful and radiant, brimming with vitality. Gradually, Yu Guang's gaze became somewhat dazed. The host for the evening was Ku Cheng, the chairman of Haotian Entertainment Media Company Limited, renowned in the city of Haigang. The company had been actively establishing a foothold in Ligang, and they were now preparing to launch a Huaxiao Entertainment Newcomer List event, aimed at scouting promising new talents in the entertainment industry. This evening, they had specially invited Lu Zhengdao, fully aware that his approval was essential for the success of their endeavor in Ligang. Amidst the clinking of glasses and the convivial atmosphere, the evening unfolded delightfully. By the time the gathering dispersed, it was already past 8 o'clock. Kuching and the senior executives of Haotian Entertainment saw Lu Zhengdao and Miss Long off to their respective vehicles. Nearby, a drunken male patron, captivated by the enchanting Miss Long, brazenly demanded a hug, despite his friends and Lu Zhengdao's driver, Xiao Xiao, attempting to restrain him. The beautiful Miss Long was taken aback, her face paling in fear, while Lu Zhengdao's expression darkened, ready to unleash his anger. Just then, a figure rushed over, seizing the inebriated man and executing a swift shoulder throw with precision. This individual was none other than Yu Guang, who had observed Lu Zhengdao and Miss Long from afar earlier but had hesitated to approach. Now, witnessing the commotion caused by the drunken man, he stepped forward, emboldened by the wine. Lu Zhengdao acknowledged Yu Guang with a nod before he and Miss Long departed in separate vehicles. Kucheng, gazing at the drunken man sprawled on the ground, inwardly lamented not having brought a bodyguard that evening. "What right do you have, just for harassing a woman?" Yu Guang declared with righteous indignation. "Indeed, we can all attest to that," echoed the representatives of Haotian Entertainment. Gradually, the drunken man regained some composure and noticed the restaurant manager arriving with security. Under the persuasion of his friends, he reluctantly departed. Yu Guang preferred to avoid escalating the situation, watching them leave in silence. "Thank you, sir," Kucheng expressed politely to Yu Guang, though he did not know him. No need for thanks, it's a trivial matter. Yu Guang replied with a smile. Ke Cheng exchanged a few more courteous remarks before departing with the team from Haotian Entertainment. The restaurant manager also expressed his gratitude. While Yu Guang engaged in a brief exchange of pleasantries before driving away. He had instructed Kong Jie to take Mei Mei and leave ahead, and they were likely awaiting him at their familiar rendezvous. A mix of pride and disappointment coursed through him. He felt proud of showcasing his skills before Lu Zhengdao, yet disappointed that neither Mei Mei nor Kong Jie had witnessed his moment of glory. "Tonight, I must ensure they see that my prowess has not waned," Yu Guang mused to himself. Miss Long, still trembling with fear, clung to Lu Zhengdao, overwhelmed by a wave of trepidation. "My dear, there's no need to be afraid." Lu Zhengdao, noticing the pallor on the lovely girl's face, felt a pang of sympathy. "Tao Ge, that person was truly terrifying. I couldn't break free from his grasp," Miss Long said, her voice tinged with a sob. "Fear not, my dear, he was merely a drunken fool. Did you not see how Director Yu dispatched him with a mere shoulder throw? Indeed, Director Yu is quite formidable. I barely caught sight of his movements before that ruffian fell to the ground. Yes, despite being over 50, old Yu still moves with the agility of youth. Tao Ge, are you implying that he remains in his prime?" Miss Long smiled faintly, then planted a kiss on Lu Zhengdao's lips, adding playfully, "Our Tao Ge is also in his prime." With that, she giggled heartily. "You little enchantress." Lu Zhengdao embraced her and showered her with kisses. Lin Zheng did not attend the commendation ceremony for acts of bravery. He had initially intended to personally present an award to his daughter, but ultimately decided against it. After dinner, he and Dong Yun settled in at home to watch the live broadcast on television. "Old Lin, look at Zhuang Ziyou. Doesn't he seem quite compatible with our daughter?" Dong Yun remarked, observing the couple on stage. "What, compatible?" Lin Zheng, sipping his tea, nearly burst out laughing upon hearing this. "Indeed, they do resemble a pair of young newlyweds," Dong Yun asserted confidently. "This is absurd. How can there be any resemblance?" Lin Zheng said, both amused and bemused. "Let it be. You were someone I pursued with great effort, and back then, your gaze was always directed upwards. Yet, this girl has an unusual glint in her eyes. In today's world, where there are more men than women, our daughter has countless admirers." How could she possibly fancy this lad? You're worrying too much. Humph. I'm worrying too much. Let us wait and see. Dong Yun replied mysteriously, don't blame me for not warning you tonight. Your little darling is soon to be whisked away by someone else. When a man comes of age, he marries. When a woman comes of age, she weds. I shall see which young man possesses the capability to marry our daughter. Lin Zheng replied with calm assurance. After the award ceremony concluded, Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi departed the exhibition center in Jian Yang's vehicle, accompanied by Lin Lisan, who took Lin Ruoxi's flowers, declaring them hers. Lin Ruoxi shot her a glance but made no attempt to reclaim them. Zhuang Ziyou then offered his flowers to Lin Ruoxi, who, initially taken aback, happily accepted them. Jian Yangza and Lin Lisan exchanged knowing glances. Each recognizing the sly triumph in the other's eyes, Zhuang Ziyou had received a bonus of 6,000 yuan, 3,000 of which was an additional reward from the Lingdong Public Security Bureau. And Jian Yangza resolved to take advantage of him once more. They headed to Fuji's barbecue food city. Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing had arrived even earlier than they did, this time. They ordered a dozen fresh oysters, followed by a pot of oyster, chicken, and shrimp porridge, along with several side dishes. Let us raise a glass in honor of our two brave models, Jian Yangza proposed. Producing a bottle of French Army Martin champagne, which he claimed to have purchased in Haigang City. Drinking champagne from plastic cups, if this were Shanghai, those few individuals would undoubtedly be scolded as little rascals. Yet here in Lingang, they indulge in such behavior without a hint of reproach. It has come to my attention that Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi have been honored as models of valor. And Boss Fu Ge made a special visit to extend his congratulations, sharing a drink before returning to his duties. Lao Zhuang, you must extend your gratitude to Lao Wu. It was his insistence that led to your nomination as models of valor. As Zhang Ziming remarked, the decision ultimately lies with the Municipal Bureau, but the recommendation from the Sub-Bureau holds significant weight, Zhang Ziming continued, and it was at this moment that Zhuang Ziyou grasped the situation. However, I find it rather peculiar that Lao Kong was so cooperative this time, not opposing Lao Wu's stance. Zhang Ziming added, I've heard that Lao Wu has connections within the provincial department. Huang Longxing commented. Whether or not he indeed has connections there remains uncertain. Zhang Ziming expressed his opinion. Yet Lao Kong has insisted on appointing Lao Go as deputy leader, which has certainly irked Lao Wu. This must be seen as a form of compensation for Lao Wu, considering that the initiative of courage and cooperation between police and citizens was indeed launched by him. Thus, we truly owe our thanks to Lao Wu. Zhuang Ziyou remarked with a smile. Should you invite him to dinner? Jian Zhangza inquired with a teasing grin. Perhaps another time, Zhuang Ziyou replied, dismissing his playful gaze. At that moment, the oysters were perfectly cooked. And Zhuang Ziyou took the initiative to open an oyster for Lin Ruoxi. Jian Yangza, noticing this, promptly did the same for Lin Lisan. Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing exchanged glances, pondering the situation of these two pairs. Were they perhaps indulging in a display of affection? Yet upon closer inspection, both pairs indeed bore a striking resemblance to couples. I must say, Lao Jian, my hand is injured today. Could you assist me in opening an oyster? Huang Longxing jested, provoking a response from Jian Yangza. I'm rather busy. Ask Lao Zhang to assist you, he retorted nonchalantly. Goodness, you're a fellow who prioritizes romance over friendship. Zhang Ziming expressed his discontent. Please refrain from such nonsense, lest we risk losing our camaraderie. Jian Yangza, noticing Lin Lisan's cheeks flush with embarrassment, quickly added. In truth, he was filled with elation. Ever since he first laid eyes on Lin Lisan, he had felt she was destined to be his future wife. A sentiment he shared with Zhuang Ziyou and his parents. Now, it was evident that he had a glimmer of hope. The feeling of love at first sight is truly delightful, Zhuang Ziyou mused. For he too felt a profound connection with Lin Ruoxi, having been captivated by her beauty and charisma since their first encounter. Although he hadn't openly declared his feelings, Jian Yangza was acutely aware of his intentions and had been striving to create opportunities for him. Many people doubt the existence of love at first sight, yet the dynamics between men and women can be remarkably peculiar. Childhood friends, innocent and unaware, may never develop romantic feelings for one another, yet often find themselves enamored with someone they have just met. Indeed, if life were only as it was at first glance, that initial meeting carries immense significance. Lin Ruoxi felt her cheeks warm as well. Recognizing that Zhang Ziming and Huang Longxing were not merely speaking of Jian Zhangza and Lin Lisan, they were also reflecting upon Zhuang Ziyou and herself. She was uncertain whether she had fallen for this boy she had only seen a few times. Yet she knew that being with Zhuang Ziyou brought her ease and joy. Moreover, she understood Zhuang Ziyou's sentiments and was aware that Lin Lisan and Jian Yangza were both playing matchmakers for her and Zhuang Ziyou. As the night deepens, the scent of spring grows increasingly palpable. The following evening at 7 o'clock, Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi set out to explore the bustling Lindong pedestrian street. Initially, they had planned for a group of 4 to indulge in this outing. But Jian Yangzi and Lin Lisan intentionally stood them up, sneaking off to watch a movie instead. This marked the first occasion that Zhuang Ziyou and Lin Ruoxi found themselves alone together. Both feeling a hint of nervousness, the Lindong pedestrian street sparkled with dazzling lights and thronged with passers-by. They first ventured to the snack street to satiate their appetites before meandering around, enjoying each other's company. After some time, feeling a bit parched, they purchased 2 cans of coconut juice. Once refreshed, they continued their stroll, fortuitously arriving at the cinema just as a romantic comedy was about to screen in a little over 10 minutes. "Shall we catch a movie as well?" Lin Ruoxi suggested. "Absolutely," Zhuang Ziyou replied. He procured the movie tickets along with some bubble tea, of course, accompanied by the indispensable popcorn. The screening room was already populated with numerous patrons, and Zhuang Ziyou was taken aback to spot several pairs of middle school students clad in uniforms. They settled into their seats, adjacent to a pair of students who were unabashedly engrossed in conversation, the female student occasionally bursting into girlish laughter. Fortunately, once the film commenced, the chatter ceased, and silence enveloped the room. The movie was hilariously entertaining, eliciting soft chuckles from the audience. Zhuang Ziyou subtly turned to glance at Lin Ruoxi, and amidst the flickering lights, he was captivated by her radiant smile, akin to a blooming flower, ethereal as a celestial being. Observing the 2 middle school students beside them, whose hands had entwined, Zhuang Ziyou felt a longing to hold Lin Ruoxi's hand as well, yet hesitated, fearing that such a gesture might startle her. "We have only just met, and are still getting to know each other. I must take my time," he reassured himself. Was it possible that today's middle schoolers were so audacious, daring to kiss in the cinema without a care? Zhuang Ziyou was momentarily taken aback. Nevertheless, he found himself admiring the boldness of the young lad, who seemed destined for greatness. Zhuang Ziyou had often heard the adage that in the pursuit of romance, one must be bold, meticulous, and unashamedly persistent. Clearly, this young man was a master of the art. Perhaps sensing Zhuang Ziyou's gaze, the boy cast a challenging glance in his direction before leaning in to kiss the girl once more. Zhuang Ziyou felt a twinge of annoyance, realizing he had been outdone by a middle school student. Lin Ruoxi appeared oblivious to this unfolding drama, her focus unwavering on the film, which brought a sense of calm to Zhuang Ziyou's previously unsettled heart. In truth, Lin Ruoxi was aware of the young man's provocation directed at Zhuang Ziyou. Her mind raced with thoughts. If Zhuang Ziyou were to kiss her, would she accept it or retaliate with a sharp slap? She harbored a fondness for him, yet it had not matured to the point of complete acceptance. She truly hoped he would refrain from such an impulsive act at that moment. Fortunately, Zhuang Ziyou exhibited remarkable restraint, a fact that delighted Lin Ruoxi, prompting her to subtly extend her hand to grasp his. As their warm hands intertwined, both felt their hearts race. They exchanged glances, and in that fleeting moment, time and space seemed to suspend.